there's a beat and I want to write something on that beat because I like the beat. तो मैं beat को सुनता हूँ and I see what theme and what feel does that beat give me
Yeah.
actually. Uh, I try to see what instruments are being used because there are some instruments that give you a certain feeling. So because of that, I get to know what topic am I supposed to write about. It's all about instinct actually. Whatever you feel like you write about it, and then you just start flowing on it. Then I would like always look for like a really good start.
Yeah.
How do I start my song? Like I need to be catchy. Some people start their song with a hook or like some of them start with directly with the verse. Like I think Shahrul's most of his songs they start with a hook.
Yeah.
Because that's his USP, so he would want that to be put like in the front line. When people get into his song, he wants them to listen to the best part so that they stay back for the whole song. So that's how I think. So I always think of my first line should be something that is really surprising. It's like people get like it's really catchy. People catch on to it as soon as they see it. When that happens, then I get the rest of the flow for the song. So then first I start thinking of all the best punchlines, the best things that I have to say about the topic that I'm writing about. So for me, as the way I do it, I list down things that I need to talk about, and then I try to frame a sentence with it that rhymes with the other. For an example, if I have to write about my if I'm right about just myself, like how I like to what hip hop really means to me. So I jot down all the important points of what hip hop really means to me if I'm writing about hip hop. Okay, so I'll tell them that hip hop changed my life and hip hop made me a better person and all those things. So I'll make a list of that. I'll rhyme them and I'll put them together in a verse. That's how I normally work. That's my process of writing a song. I always try to make sure, because this is what I have learned. शुरुआत से हमने ये सुना है कि a hook should be catchy because that's the soul of the song that sums up the entire song. So for writing a hook, normally I've learned this new process which I think Shahrul also follows, and I've seen Divine follow it a lot. That you first write the hook for the song and you keep the song with you, and then you write the verses later on. So that sometimes now I've started that practice a lot. That I just randomly play beats and I think of a word that I can say on it. Like for example, me and Altaf were jamming the other day, and we were playing like random beats that were sent to us by producers. As soon as the beats were playing, we started bobbing our head to the rhythm of it. We are trying to see what BPM the beat is. Once we get to know that, like once we get into the whole flow of it, we start thinking of words that can be said, and what word would sound the best on this particular beat. Like for example, if me and Shahrul made a song called Psycho. So in Psycho, Shahrul came up with a hook called "I'm just a psycho." So I'm sure when the beat was playing, when Shahrul was listening to it, the first word came to his mind was psycho.
Yeah.
And then you started singing it, right?
Yeah.
He started singing it on the beat, and that's when he realized, okay, this part, psycho, that can be really catchy. It'll stick in people's head. People will never forget that particular tune of the way I said psycho. So he made a hook out of it, and then we wrote verses to it. So that's my normal process of writing a song. Initially, when I started rapping, first thing you learn when you start rapping is how to rhyme, how to frame your rhyme words, and how to make a sentence from that. I did not know about all the features of rapping or that a rap song has, that like a poetry verse would have, or anything like that. I was not aware of that. The only thing I was aware that ke rhyme karna hai line ko line se, and that's a rap. Later on, when I started learning about all the figures of speech that I used while forming a sentence or making a line sound much more punchy, I learned that on the internet. So what I started doing was I started using a lot of metaphors to explain whatever I had to say, using some similes to make my sentences very creative. Also, for a word to sound very punchy, you need to give like some stronger examples in metaphors. So I started thinking more of that. I started looking around, where I can find the best punchline, or where I can find the best metaphor to describe a certain line. Because I was a battle rapper, I started battle rapping. So I would always look for disses. like metaphors to diss a particular rapper.
Yeah.
I also learned about multisyllable rhyming, which people told me that it will really shape my flow, and it will really help me sound smoother when I'm rapping. So multisyllable rhyming is something that I started using like after I was rapping for a year, and after a year I realized something called multisyllable rhyming. So that after a year I started my rhyming scheme, and my style of rapping and everything started changing, because I was putting in more efforts, and I was adding in some more punchlines in my verses. So these are the basic things that I started doing. Also, I started practicing different voices, different styles of delivery, different expressions. So sometimes I would like maybe watch a movie, or I watched Pursuit of Happiness to feel sadness before rapping, because when I saw the film, when I saw Will Smith act in it, it was very it was very filling. I understood that how you can express your sorrow, through acting also, even if you just have to act on a song.
100%.
So started doing a lot of these things. Like for funny things, I started watching a lot of sitcom, because in sitcoms they speak situationally.
Yeah.
So when they speak situationally, you realize how a sentence can be said in different better ways.
Got it. Yeah.
For it to sound funny. Because I used to write a lot of funny lyrics, sitcoms really helped me a lot. So these are the things that I started observing around. And because I was rapping in English, I was watching a lot of English sitcoms and English movies. But later on, when I started rapping in Hindi, I started focusing on the Hindi part of entertainment, where I see how dialogues are delivered, how singers sing. Even in Bollywood, when somebody singing a romantic song, he has to put some sort of a feeling in it. So I started learning how they do it. I started watching some videos on YouTube, and that really did improve my writing style and my whole approach towards my song.
My writing has definitely evolved in the way that, like Dhaval also said, we all started just rhyming words, sort of like nursery rhymes. I think
Cat, mat, sad.
it was very simple and just to the point. Even like the type of similes or metaphors we would use, it would be like, me without a mic is like a dog without a bone, like stuff like that.
Lyrical, spiritual,
Yeah,
lyrical,
like
cynical.
that. Yeah, even when you do the multi-syllable stuff and multiple rhymes with each line, it was more just, oh, let's just do it because it looks more
As soon as
complicated.
people learn that, they think it's a game. Let's
and
do multisyllable everywhere.
And it's like half the lyrics didn't even make sense because it was just like, oh, I'm just trying to rhyme crazier. I would look through the dictionary and find a word and then find 10 other synonyms and find the most complicated one. And my accent was a little bit global and kind of all over the place, a little bit American, a little bit British, a little bit Indian,
International
a little
school.
bit Indian. So like it would be hard for people to understand it. So definitely over the years, I think I've learned less is more is a big mantra with everything in life, including lyrics. Simple is better. When I approach hooks, simple is better. Even when we worked on Konetu, I came to him with this idea of like, who are you? Like in that kind of vibe, like who do you think you are? That kind of vibe. And then he straight up just said Konetu, and I was like, oh, it's a little bit too like straight to the point. But then he's like, I mean, at the end of the day, hooks are hooks because they're catchy, hooks are catchy and it hooks you to the song right away. So it's about keeping it simple, and even with rhymes, to the basic listener, it should sound simple, but the people who can really decipher and decode the lyrics, like guys who really love hip hop, they'll see the layers within it as well. Like a song, like a line of mine, my ex don't exist like Wakanda, which is like it shows homage to a movie that I love, and also it has a double meaning of referring to my ex, and also and also within that there's also alliteration, X and exist.
X and exist.
So it's there's a lot more layers to a simple line now, because I guess I can pull it together after all the years of practice.
Poetry is the other half of rap. The first half is rhythm. So rhythm and poetry together becomes rap. It's just that there's a difference of language, and there's a different approach in rap as poetry. But the same elements that are used in poetry are in rap. Like if you say metaphors or alliteration, similes, hyperbole, all these figures of speech are also a part of rap because rap is poetry. Most of the times I used figures of speech like metaphors and similes or hyperbole. That's what we call that flex.
Hyperbole is to exaggerate.
Exaggerate. So
Exaggerate.
that's flexing.
Yeah, flexing. Yeah.
We flex all the time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we use a lot of hyperbole, we use a lot of alliteration. Sometimes I rarely use alliteration,
Yeah.
only if I need to get like smoother somewhere and just get out of like a particular beat.
Yeah.
But yeah, metaphors and alliteration are like most commonly used in hip hop because that was like gives a punch to your writing.
For me, I use a lot of alliteration because I think things like tongue twisters like Peter Piper, Picker Pepper, all these type of things, seashells, seashores, all those things. They're catchy, and also it adds also a little bit of it shows that there's complications and there is some technicality to the raps, and when it makes sense, it's beautiful. And for me, I like to have multiple multiple sounds of the same letter, constantly throughout. And when it makes sense, it's beautiful. I love double entendres and triple entendres if possible. Like Jay-Z is a king of that. So I try to do stuff like that. An example would be in the first line for me of Gully Gang Cypher, screaming rule worldwide because we all caps lock. So rule worldwide is my cap brand. And also I'm saying screaming rule worldwide because we all caps lock. Screaming, caps lock, the typing form of capital letters. And at the same, it's double meaning, and also it's, it's getting a point across, to start off a strong, a strong verse. And all these little figures of speech kind of help amplify, your message and
even catch me in the kitchen like I'm Sanjeev Kapoor.
Yeah, catch me in the kitchen like I'm Sanjeev Kapoor is double line for me being in the studio. A lot of rappers call the kitchen
always
studio.
Cooking something up.
Or cooking, and it gives that, for Desis all over the world, Sanjeev Kapoor is that guy that you always see on TV. So it's just painting a better picture through the use of figures of speech and imagery and poetry. Yeah. A famous double entendre by Jay-Z, which I super respect and kind of look at, is a line he did on a Drake song where he says, "Ow, girls turn their heads like owls. I'm the man of the hour." So technically, it sounds like there's 3 owls sounding there, but it's like he's saying owl. Girls turn their heads like owls, and I'm the man of the hour. So, on the ear, it sounds like he's saying the same ow, but when you hear it and the type of, within that, there's also a simile. Girls turn their heads like owls, and everyone knows owls to be turning their heads all the time, like that.
Yeah, I also remember an example from this rap battle that I saw by a rapper called Conceited. He came up with this wordplay called Captain Morgan's Come Out.
Yeah.
And then he made 3-4 different versions of that. He said, "Cap them organs come out."
Yeah.
And "Cap them Morgans come out." Captain Morgans come out. And he said the same thing but with 3 different meanings.
Yeah. I think also with double entendres, which have deeper meanings, it's just about dissecting each part of the word, and finding ways to kind of, use it in different forms within the same sentence. And I think when people get it, their minds are blown, So I think that's why rappers really love to use, especially with battle rap as well.
Yeah,
because
also rappers like Crooked Eye.
Yeah. All guys who are more technical with their pens, like even Eminem.
Eminem, yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
so I think it is a skill that even the biggest guys like Jay-Z who don't go as technical, but when a basic listener hears it,
I think it's just natural, just comes
Yeah,
out.
I'm saying when a basic listener hears it, it's like, okay, cool. Like, he said a few things. But when a rapper or someone who's really interested in the lyrics really gets into it, they're mind blown because there's so many layers to it, and it's still continuing a story, which is the craziest part. So a good example of a hyperbole that I've used in Gully Gang Cypher is because I wear a lot of chains, I said, so young Buppy Larry take an hour through customs. So normally when you go through customs in the airport, you have to take off all your jewelry and stuff. So I overstretched it and said, I have so many chains that it takes me an hour to get through customs. And also young Buppy Larry, everyone knows to be that guy always
with all
shining with
gold.
jewelry. So it worked out in a way because everyone calls me young Buppy Larry now. So in rap, I think it's definitely important to have poetic devices, scattered throughout your verses, because it definitely, adds an extra touch of class and perfection to it, rather than just having rhymes that, go together. All the biggest rappers that we look up to, and I'm sure you look up to, have, super, technical abilities when it comes to, using these devices, and, they've gotten better over time. So it's super important to refine those skills and, constantly use them.
There are different poetic devices that you can use in your rap. Like, you see anything, you see the characteristics of it, and then you use that as an example to describe something else. That's how you, improve your metaphor skills. You look for similarly sonic words so that you can come up with some similes. For example, the word viral. In the computer world, there are a lot of similes actually. Like there is also there's a keyboard which for typing, and there's a keyboard to hang keys.
Yeah.
Right. Also, things like
circuitry, circuit, so it can be for electronics and also like a race circuit
can also be thoda dimag se circuit
exactly
fuse,
or even circuit from MBBS,
Munna that guy,
so
the reason why he was named circuit because he was a little circuit.
Exactly.
So so you always find in life, what I do is, what my motive is to find as many similes as I can.
100%.
That's what keeps going on in my mind all the time.
I think we all write them as soon as they come to your head.
Exactly.
You're like, oh, this is the thing that I need to put down. Yeah.
Like the word virus.
Yeah.
In computer world, virus means something that has attacked your computer, and now it has attacked the real world. So there are two types of
bars. Yeah.
When it comes to writing, whichever language that you're writing in, make sure that you watch things related to that. Like for example, watching Hindi movies. If you're writing Hindi songs, listen to Hindi songs. If you want to write really good Hindi lyrics, listen to Hindi songs. Listen to the best in the Hindi scene. Like in Bollywood, like we have lyricists in Bollywood like Amitabh Bhattacharya or Gulzar. Or Javed Akhtar or Majnun Sultanpuri. All these guys, they definitely do use really great metaphors and similes.
Yeah.
If you go and dig in deep into their work that they have done, they have really done some great work with lyricism. So you can get inspired from these. They can be your mentors, like how they have been mentors to me, because I did not have anybody else to refer to for Hindi lyricism, because that's where I was stuck. So I would always listen to these examples to get somewhere, some ideas of where I can go and how I can sound better with that. So you listen to more Hindi songs. Or if you're into English rapping, you can listen to as many English songs as you can.
Yeah.
Not just rap. Like there's also rock, there's also jazz, there's country music, where amazing lyrics are written all over the world. People are expressing themselves.
Yeah.
Get inspired from that.
Yeah.
Also, I would suggest meet a lot of people, speak to a lot of people.
100%. Read a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you get to learn a lot of things from each other when you meet them, like co-artists, etc. Like when I met Sharul, I learned from him that whenever you should make the hook first of your song. That really worked well for me in future. So the more people you meet, the more things you can grasp from them.
Yeah. Pop culture always has references that everyone can relate to. Like for example, during the lockdown, I watched the entire Marvel series, all the 27, I don't know how many movies it is, all in a row. So, and it was my first time really sitting down and watching them. From the Marvel references, something I would use is for Thor's hammer, because it's the heaviest object in the Marvel universe and no one only but Thor can pick it up. I would say, my chain heavy like Thor's hammer. Stammer. Like I would start off like that, and it's just about picking references that everyone would know the meaning of.
So the moral of this whole conversation is that you have to make your rap so relatable that people want to go back to it again and again and listen to it once they relate to it. So make it as relatable as it can, because it becomes better.